Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode. This week we're joined by one of the most talked about new arrivals in the NIHL National, Jake Bolton. He's a big presence both physically and in personality. After his time in the Elite League with the Glasgow Clan and a season out of the game, he's making his return with the Solway Sharks, and he's already made it clear that he's not here to take part, he's here to dominate. So Jake, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. What an intro, a lot to live up to there, but no, I'm excited. I'm excited to get going.
Good. So Jake, first of all, we're going to go into the comeback, obviously, from retired to recharged. So question number one, last year you was officially retired and now you're back. So from fans' perspective, they want to know what changed, what pulled you back into the game?
So, I guess I've technically officially retired twice. Did it after my season in Guildford, and that didn't really stick. Ended up going into Glasgow for a bit of injury coverage. And then, after my last season in Glasgow, I thought I was done. It was just, lifestyle thing. I've been playing 10 years. Had a good opportunity with a job here and stuff, but just, you never stop missing the game. And I was still around it a lot. I was still in great shape. And my girlfriend and I were thinking about moving to the States, and ended up saying, we want to do another year in Scotland. So I'm looking for jobs, and I was still ready to play. So I went to her and was like, hey, what do you think about me strapping them back on? And she was all for it. So I'm psyched. I've been itching to play. It's tough to give up, let me tell you. And I do a lot of coaching in the summertime. So I was still around the game and just really wanted to get back, and started asking around, and Solway seemed like a perfect fit. I had really good meetings with the team there, and it all kind of fell into place. So I think I never really left the game. I think I retired because I thought it was time, but it wasn't. So I'm ready to be back.
Good. So would you say there was a key moment where you thought, do you know what, I'm not actually done here? Or was it more of just you knew you weren't done and it just progressed over time and you thought, I've got to get back into this? Because some people said, there was a specific moment they'd been to watch a game and something's caught their eye and they thought, I want a piece of that and get back into it. Or is it just, natural?
Yeah, no, I think it just kind of happened naturally over time. Like, both times when I quote unquote retired, I was still there. Like, a lot of guys lose the fire a bit, or being at the rink isn't quite as fun, and you just kind of feels like it's time. And both times for me were kind of forced, whether it was, having a job opportunity here and ready to step into the next thing, or like, just lifestyle, feeling like it's time to move on. I never really had that big, like, hey, I'm done moment, which makes sense because I'm back. So, but usually it's watching the end of the playoffs. Like, our season ends before NHL playoffs, and watching those games really kill you, right? But I was living in Scotland, so the games are 1 a.m. because they're all 7 o'clock starts. So, so I missed a lot of playoffs, and it was really just, missing the game and having the chance to come back. That's what I really think what it was. I mean, most of the time when you retire, you don't play for a year. Your agent stops calling, and it's just the opportunity is never there. And I think I always wanted to play again, and the fact that I could, it happened fast. So
I kind of wanted to ask, just before we get into Solway and who Jake Bolton is, if for those that in our league that may not be as aware of the EIHL, sorry. Let's just touch on Glasgow. So obviously you had a season there, and then if I remember correctly, you came back for a short period as injury recovery. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you really enjoyed it. I know, obviously, your previous interview with Solway when you first joined there, you said you really enjoyed that spell with Glasgow. How do you feel your sort of whole time with Glasgow was? Did you really enjoy that? And how was it playing in the Elite League?
It was great. I love playing Elite League. Like, my year with Guildford was awesome. Obviously a very different vibe and just different lifestyle living Glasgow and Guildford. Just the way the teams operate and stuff was a lot different. But I love the league. It's a lot more North American style, which fits my game way better. I spent a year in Norway and a year in Sweden, and spend half of them suspended because it's just a different game there, right? So so it was great. Like, I love the style of play, and Glasgow was good. So I stepped into two really interesting situations. When I went in the first time, the coach at the time was trying to get me to sign for that season, and that's when I had retired. And about a month and a half in, they had like 3D go down on injury. So my phone was ringing from him every day trying to get me to come over. And in the Elite League, if you're there for less than 30 days, it doesn't count as a roster transfer. So I ended up calling him back and saying, hey, what if I came in and just helped you out for a month? I was working an online job at the time, so I could, with the time change, I could practice and work. So I was actually working a job and playing hockey for that month. But once that 30-day spell hit, I wasn't able to do both, and I obviously would have counted as the roster transfer. So that was interesting because that coach got gassed like 2 days before I showed up. So I stepped into, we had players running the team, which was a wild scenario. We ended up working out well, but and then the next year they cleaned house. So some new front office people, brand new coach. We really like refilled out the roster. There were very few returners, and that's always an interesting scenario when you're going to a team that you have a little bit of knowledge with, but everything's different. Like they operated different, bus travel, all that stuff was all different. So it was good. I mean, obviously, I wish we had been a little more successful those years, but Guildford ended up going to the final and losing with Cardiff, and losing to Cardiff. That game still haunts me. But no, I loved it there. It was great. Like the city's awesome. Travel was really good. Team took care of us well. And, you know, I obviously knew a few of the Solway guys at the time that were coming up and filling in on injury and everything. But I love the Elite League. Just the hockey in the UK in general is built so much more like home, where my game feels a lot more comfortable there.
I mean, that's interesting in itself. Like, one of the things we was going to ask you as a follow-up question in regards to that is, you know, like the physical side of the Elite League. Obviously, that plays into your sort of, you know, strengths as a player. So, I mean, that's what I was going to say. But, you know, you touched on Norway and Sweden as well, and they're being a lot different. But I think our league as well, definitely, you know, you've got to be a bit physical. And, you know, where the quality may not be as high as the Elite League, you know, it's growing each season and the gap's definitely closing. But it seems like you're going to be a bit of a hit in our league, definitely. What do you reckon, lads?
Yeah, too right.
Yeah, I just find it really interesting there. Like you say, it's close to home, like the game itself. Like a lot of people say, oh, yeah, like UK ice hockey isn't all this and all that, but to have that sort of similarity to, you know, other countries where it's a lot bigger in the market, it's quite refreshing to hear that.
Yeah.
No, it was great. I mean, the start, like obviously just the level of play was really close too. Like I had some good stints with some big teams back in States, and like I made that jump immediately from US hockey to Scandinavian hockey, which I did not mesh with. We had 42 games in Sweden. I think I was suspended for 15 of them. And it was just you hit somebody too hard, you're out for 3 games. Crazy. And then came over to the UK and everyone was like, hey, you know, they're bringing in a lot of big players. Like obviously you guys know that EI league used to just kind of be a tough guy league. The talent was sort of there, but there were a lot of fighters, a lot of big hitters and stuff. And now it's really gotten like, it's good hockey. But they still keep more, I'd say, U.S. rules, like 5 minutes fight and regular hits. Like you blow somebody up, but you get them in the chest, no one's blowing a whistle, which was a nice change from Scandinavia. So yeah, it was. It's really good. I think it fits great. I think it's why I stuck. Like when I decided to make that jump to Europe, I was going on 1-year contracts everywhere because like who's not to turn down an opportunity to basically get paid to travel and play hockey. So I wanted to see all the leagues, and then I played in the EI, and I'm like, no, this is gonna stick. So.
Love that.
Yeah, that's great. So moving on to Solway a little bit then, bit of a different environment. Obviously the Elite League, dropping a league lower. Obviously the standard in this league is growing a bit more, bit of a smaller market. But what stood out about Solway? Is it the project with some of the guys that you played with before? Did they sort of whisper in your ear and pull you in? What was it?
Yeah, so obviously I knew a bunch of the guys there, and obviously the owner, John Strange, his company was a big sponsor in Glasgow. So I had known him pretty well from my time in Glasgow. And when I was looking at coming back, I was talking to a few EI teams, but I'm moving over there with my girlfriend, and we obviously have a setup in Glasgow right now. So I was hoping to play in Scotland, and it was the only Scottish team. And I was like, you know what, I can maybe make something else work, travel, do whatever I can for signing in a team in England. In the NI, but once I met with the guys and talked to Stenny, so I would say Stenny was a huge part of it. Liam Stenton, people don't know his nickname. He was on the team for when I was there during that month spell, and because I was only there for a month, I didn't have a car, so he'd pick me up for practice every day, and we buddied up. I was like, we were working together a lot after practice, and obviously with him being the captain there, he was my first call. And it was all good things. And, he was really excited to hopefully gear up back together again. So I actually didn't even talk to anyone else. Called my agent, said it looks really good there. And it was Solway all the way. So.
Yeah, I mean, we're Hull fans, obviously, but from the outside, we've quite enjoyed watching Solway in the past season. Yeah. It's been a bit of a rough place to go for some teams. So adding somebody like yourself with your ability and throwing people about a bit, I think you'll be a massive hit there, and a few more people might not enjoy that travel up to Solway. Yeah,
Literally.
Well, I hope
hit.
so. That's my job, right? And I think that was a big part of the fit too. Like when I met with the team, you obviously, I sat down with John, I sat down with Spud, the coach, and a few of the guys, and kind of looked at what they're looking to fill for a role. Like when you bring in an import, right, you're slotting them into a certain game style of what you want them to do. And when I, watched Solway play and met with those guys, they seemed to be very high skill, but didn't really have a ton of the big defenseman or a big power forward that can kind of swing a game a little bit if it's getting too physical. And that's sort of what they were lacking. So not only did I feel like I clicked with the guys really well, I felt like that spot that they needed to fill fit my game really well. So, everything lined up perfectly.
Cool. And so that brings us on nicer then to, who is Jake Bolton? And you've already made it clear, you're not shy on the ice. And for those in the NIHL who don't know who you are, how would you describe your game? Obviously, you've mentioned being a power forward or, being able to hit hard and swing the game. But what turned you into that player? So as a follow-up to this, you called yourself a bit of a prick in a previous interview. And where did that edge come from? Is it just something that was born into you?
Well, I've kind of always had it, I'd say, like just a big time competitor all my life. Like whether I'm playing mini golf or it's like a playoff game in the EI, like I've just always want to win all the time. So I always kind of had that edge. But the other part is it definitely got built into my game. So I grew really early. So I was one of the bigger guys. Like I switched to defense probably when I was 12 or 13, and I was always a big guy. So I kind of had to have that presence. And you got to, right? Like when you're a big guy and you're young and everyone else is a little bit smaller, you want to blow guys up, right? So that sort of got built into my game. But then when you make to the Division I ranks and the pro ranks, the level of skill you have drops dramatically, right? Like you could be the best guy on your team at U16s and you make the jump pro, everyone's skilled. So you have to find your pocket where you can succeed. And I didn't have the skill set to be a points defenseman. And I have, a relatively large frame for playing. So I just sort of found that nook of I can put pucks on the net in the power play, but also just, get guys in the box, like be loudmouth and chirping guys, get guys off their game and play really physical and be someone that is on the ice, right? Like with those skilled forwards that you want to try and not line match against. And that fit my game really well. I mean, obviously I got to play pro for like 10 years without being a point of game guy. The game has shifted so much where there's way more offensively producing defensemen, and that role of being more of a steady Eddie, two-way defenseman, tough guy isn't as big as it used to be, but every team needs one or two of them. So I just kind of slid into that role, but I love doing it. Like, I think it's just a part of me, like even off the ice sometimes, like I just love getting fired up. So, being able to have that part of the game, it's going to be interesting seeing in this league. I've watched a lot. There's definitely some tough guys, but there's some high skill too. So it's going to be a fun year.
Yeah, obviously we've had a few people on previously, and something that might be quite interesting to hear from you is what would your coaches say about you when you was growing up? Did they obviously see the fact you was going to be a bigger guy, and did they instill sort of the different coaching techniques to suit your build at the time? What was the coaching like for you building that game?
Yeah, when I was younger, like I was always sort of top of my age group playing nationally and in the big tournaments and stuff, but I wasn't someone where guys were like, oh, you got to come watch this kid play. That's, ended up being a high draft pick to the show or anything like that. It was just that I could produce and I'd lay hits, which was tough for a defenseman of any age, really. You're usually either more of a points guy or you're tough and you play heavy, but you're, 10, 12 points a season kind of thing. So I just sort of fit right down the middle. And then it was really when I started to see that I had a chance at having a pro career. Just some guys that I worked with, some advisors and coaches that were like, hey, if you can really add a real toughness component to your game, it's going to go a long way because, your skill set isn't going to be someone where they're going to bring you in to get 50 points in an 80 game season or 60 points or whatever. Like if you can be in that sort of half a point a game role, but we can throw you out there to beat some guys up and play really tough in front of the net and like be a presence, you're going to have your career longevity is going to be probability of that will go way up. So that was definitely a changing point. I always loved throwing hits and being a prick out there, but really focusing on finding the right times to do that and like also go out of the way to, if you can get the puck and lay the hit, let's get both, rather than just steal the puck away because it puts it in your head. Like even if you're a bigger guy or you don't mind getting hit, no one wants to, right? So it really does. It is a mindset part of the game. So for me, it was more a necessity just to have a long pro career and not get, traded around a ton try to, find a team in the off season rather than having teams calling you. I really did have to fit that role of like putting up some decent points, but playing tough.
I want to go into, like that side of your game, because with all due respect to Solway, like you may have touched on earlier, that might have been a little bit of part of their game that there was lacking last season. Especially, away from home as well. If you guys can go there this season and sort of put your mark on a game, then that'd be massive, wouldn't it? So, obviously you're saying that, you like to be a presence on the ice, which obviously is fantastic for them. But are you necessarily a fighter, or like... are you just about being like a presence, and how do you sort of set that tone early in the game to sort of try and get the lads into the game like that? Because again, with all due respect, I feel like Solway might have struggled with that a little bit last season.
Yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't describe myself as a fighter. I think that is a role that, gosh, I hope never goes away in hockey. Just us, us controlling how the game is run is so important, right? Like I said before, I've played in leagues where fighting's, you're not allowed, like you get suspended immediately, and there's so much dirtier, like stuff you can get, you know what I mean? Like a smaller guy can run one of your great guys. What's going to happen? Go to the box, like big deal. So maintain it, but it's definitely not my part of the game. I also don't want to come in as an import and be sitting 5-10 minutes a game either. It's I would say it's a necessity part of my game. If there's a bad hit or the boys were having we've had 2 really bad periods, we need something to turn it around. It's definitely something I have no problem doing. But at the most time, I'm just trying to get under guys' skin and have them know when you're on the ice and just be annoying, really. Like the guys that are just pissing you off. Anytime it pulls you off your game, that helps. So, no, I'm certainly not a guy that's gearing up and checking the roster sheets to see who I'm going to drop them with. But, like, when it comes about, I like it, yeah.
I love that. That's such a class answer. So I think that side of the game is, again, it's underrated. And actually, just before I move on, you've got somebody who definitely don't fancy dropping the gloves this season in Carter Hamill. So I think you'll really enjoy playing with him. He does not, he don't give a shit, does he?
No.
You can be as tall as you want, as wide as you want. If you need someone to do it, he'll do it. So that's great. I think you two probably get on really well in that sense.
No, I've heard. That's awesome.
But in terms of like that side of the game, then I think even that's quite underrated, isn't it? Because I don't think you'd see loads and loads of brick guys who will go out there to sort of, get under people's skin sort of thing. And I think you maybe more than most understand that psychology and that part of the game. So, like, you probably don't go out to do it purposefully, but do you think that's an important part of the game as well, to sort of try and get under people's skins? To, if you've got a guy who's banging loads and loads of points in the season, are you going out there to sort of throw him off his game in that sense?
Yeah, so it's all management, right? Like, you guys are hockey guys, you get it. Like, my biggest story when I'm explaining it to people who don't know the game that well is we had a game when I was playing for Guildford against Nottingham where we're really trying to slot into the top side of that playoffs towards the end of the season, and we're down 2-1 to Nottingham in the third period, and it's just a lull. It's been a long season. It's a home game. A lot of fans didn't show up, and the guys just weren't there. And there's big Josh Tetlow, 6'6", lanky dude on the other side, and he's usually good for one. So I went and grabbed him, like, start of the third, and we had a great bout. Like, I'm reaching up. Like, I'm a big guy, and I'm reaching up for him. And just gets the rink going. And, like, it's that bond between the boys, right? Like, you got to know your teammates are going to do what they have to do to win. But sometimes you need that reminder in a game when things just aren't going your way. So, yeah, it's not something you prepare for, but it's something you manage in the game. And you learn that over your career. I've played for so long now that you know where to do it. And, like, if a fight's going to do it, if you need to be on the ice, you got to find another way to do it too, right? Like, even if you just call out a guy on your own team and you know it's going to piss him off, but if it lights a fire, then he's going, balls out the next shift. Like, it's really just all game management.
Well, you're in for a real treat when you come to Hull, because you'll, if you end up in the penalty box, you'll be sat just in front of us. And we love to have a good shout at whoever's in that box.
Hull's been thrown around a lot since I've signed here. I'm interested for the first game because I know I mentioned on my other podcast with the team just being a guy that likes to fire the fans up a bit and get some hate thrown at me too. And the first comment was something about Hull, so I'm interested to play in that barn.
Yeah, to be fair, I think a few people say that about us, and it's just a good bit of banter we have with the opposition players. To be fair, it's all good fun. At the end of the night, we're thumbs up, all for good fun. But yeah, it can be a bit hostile at times.
Yeah, but it is a part of the game too, right? Like, some guys love it, some guys hate it. Like, the fans have more of an effect on the game than they think. Like, yeah, what you're yelling from the stands, we don't hear individual stuff people are yelling, but like when it is fans are all over you, guys that don't thrive when they're playing pissed off, it can affect your whole game. Like when we used to go to Fife or Dundee, I mean, they're ruthless. And guys that get pissed off by that and get sucked off your game, it makes a big difference. So like, yeah, going in there will be fun. I love those games, but not everyone does. So having a good fan base that's like known for, pestering you or whatever can be annoying.
And what better than a double header at the Hull Arena, right? Pre-season.
Early doors.
That'd
awesome.
be great in pre-season. We're definitely looking forward to that one, aren't we?
Yeah.
It was like when that got announced as well. It's 2 nights in Hull. Was like, oh, that's going to be great. Especially
we
with
don't have our rank, so we're down there for sure.
Yeah.
All of our stuff at the beginning of the season's on the road, which will be an interesting part too.
Definitely.
I love that.
Well, I think we'll move on. You wanted to talk about sort of the expectations in the season ahead, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. So you've talked about wanting to lay your first big hit as soon as you're back on the ice. How hungry are you to make an impact in game one?
Yeah, I mean, it's coming out, right? Like, especially when you're coming out of retirement, and like, obviously there has been, a lot of hype. Like, obviously, I've had played in some big leagues, and in my whole career over there has been in the EI, and it's a big drop. But at the same time, like going to 4 imports, the video I've watched, it's good hockey. Like, I'm not coming in thinking if I don't produce like crazy, I was a bad signing or whatever. Like, it's good hockey. So for me, it's really coming in and doing my job and not letting stuff like this affect my game where you try to do too much. Right. Like I had said, I don't really have one huge part of my game where I put up a ton of points or I fight all the time or anything like that. It's more I play my role. So I think helping guys, helping us mesh. We have obviously a pretty big roster change this year. We had, Dunny move on. We had a few other guys move on. So I think it's really meshing the team and just playing your role. I think people will be looking to watch me on the ice during those games and seeing me not try to do too much or feel like I'm going down the league or whatever. Like, it's hockey, right? And my role is the same, whether I'm in Glasgow, I'm in Solway, or I'm back home in the States. Like, I play the same game. So I think the biggest thing for me is just going out there and not getting beat, putting some pucks on the net. Like, yeah, I want to throw my first hit. I can't wait. It's been so long. But at the same time, when you're focused on that too, then you miss out on some other sides of it. So yeah, it'll definitely be opportunistic, but no, it's going to come. Can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's some people who will know you. There's some people who won't know you. Is it going to be important to introduce or reintroduce yourself to the UK ice hockey world?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you definitely want to, you love to make a show of it, but at the same time, you also put a target on your back too, like, which a part of that is great because like I want guys all over me thinking like, oh, this guy's coming in trying to do it, all that crap. But at the same time, it is then they're not thinking about the game, just like I was saying before. So I definitely want to come in and have a presence, that's for sure. But how I go about it, it's definitely not like I have something written down or whatever. I'm just going to play and we'll see how it goes.
I think the league in itself is really stacked. Like, last season was one of the best seasons that we've watched in a long while, hasn't it? There was like 2 teams that were fighting at it in MK and Leeds, but actually this season, it just seems in this off season that each team has got so strong. Like, every team is signing good players and that kind of thing. So what's your read on the league then? Obviously, you've said you've watched a little bit of video and stuff, and you've just touched on you feel like it's good, but have you looked deeper into that as the guys at Solway already sort of spoke to you about that, and have you got your eyes on any teams or anything like that?
Yeah, a bit. So I think, mostly with chatting with the guys, like, there's only so much video you can watch because players change all the time. And like you said, like, team structures have changed. And it's really the biggest change I think, and that I've seen too, is high scoring. Like, there's a lot more games that are in the 6, 7, 8, 9s than any league that I'm used to. So for me, like I said, it's not so much focusing on that offensive side of bringing a defensive structure. It seems like in this league, if you can keep it under 4, under 3 or under 4, you're in a really good chance to win the game. So I think it's really locking down that whole D zone system and being strong and being someone that, like, being a guy that says, hey, this is how we're going to play and this is how we're going to shut it down, and let's stick to that. Because when you do play a run and gun game, systems can tend to go out the window. So I think with, like, the roster we've built in Solway, I won't drop any names because I forget who's been announced, but like with the roster we've built, it definitely seems like if we can, let the guys produce offensively, have our D get it up to the forwards and let them do their thing, but in the D zone be really structured. I think playing you guys, Hull, I don't know if that's you guys or not, but playing Hull is going to be exciting because it seems like it'll be physical, it'll be intense. There's a bit of a rivalry there. And then when you play in the MK and the Leeds that are teams that are known to put up big numbers, it's really just locking it down defensively. But for me, it's going to be a whole new league, right? So it's kind of figuring it out as you go too. You can watch as much video as you want until you're in the game with the roster changes. It's, you get the first 2 games against each team to sort of get a read and build from there. But yeah, no, what I'm really, really looking forward to is just seeing the barn, seeing the environments, and figuring out the best way to play against every team. Really, I'm excited to play in MK because I have a little bit of a history of almost signing there and then not going. So seeing their barn, but no, yeah, there isn't anyone I'm super locked in on. Obviously, guys that I know, Sam Cooper, he was a guy that used to practice with us in Guildford, and he's turned into quite a player. I still keep in touch with him, and playing against him will be really good. And then obviously County and a bunch of other guys that I play with in the Elite League. So it's more certain players than it is certain teams.
Yeah, and sorry to go back a little bit there, but you were just talking about like shutting teams down and the importance of that. What gives you the belief that Solway are going to be able to do that on a consistent basis this season?
I think this year the biggest change from what I've learned is they played with a 5D system last year. They're only running 5 defensemen, so you're constantly changing your partner, right? Whereas this year with 6 in the back, over the course of the first month, you really find who fits with your partner and who plays well together. And then having that where how guys play. When I played with 5D in Guildford for the first 4 months of the season, we didn't bring in a 6th guy till after Christmas. And it's such a tough thing to do because obviously as a defenseman, you want to be able to not look and just make a decision because how your partner plays, where they're going to be. And when they're rolling 5D, that's a tough thing to do. And it's really tough to also, you're making split-second decisions on coverage. And if you don't know what your partner's doing, that's really tough. So I think having 6 this year is going to help us a lot with finding 3 sets that fit perfectly and playing them all the time so that guys have a read off of each other. And it just makes running that D-zone system so much easier. So I think literally just going from 5 to 6, no matter who they are, is a big help.
Is that underrated in hockey, that, do you think?
Big time. Like line meshing. I think I've played on teams with coaches that love shuffling the lines all the time and coaches that won't change them even when they need to. And I think there's a healthy medium of finding the guys that gel together, especially on the back end. Like forwards, it's a lot more flow in the zone, right? And they're good at just finding space and reading off each other. But defensemen, everything's so set, right? Like when you're breaking out or when you're even just facing a forecheck, how you play it is set. And when you're changing partners all the time, it is a huge part of it that, from a fan's point of view, you don't necessarily see because you're just watching the game, whereas we're the game within the game, right? So finding guys that mesh and knowing where guys are going to be and who talks and who doesn't, it is such a huge thing.
And actually, not having to know what 2 or 3 different people are going to do in each situation and things like that, it must be a hell of a lot easier. No, I love that, yeah.
Yeah, because your mind runs at times too, where you're down a couple goals and you're focused on playing offensively and you hop on the ice and there is a split second where you realize you're not with the same guy you were with last shift. And then you throw a back pass and they're not there and you look like an idiot. So yeah, there is a huge component to that.
Magic. So just want to sort of wrap up this segment here about expectations. So I know you've alluded to a few bits and bobs both for the team and yourself, but just overall, is there any expectations for the team as of yet for the season? Have they set any goals? And again, for yourself, are you sort of setting yourself small little milestones that you'll keep to yourself, but sort of work to try and push yourself throughout the season?
Yeah, of course. I think, without selling out any of our team plans or anything, there's certainly a spot where by mid-season, we want to be here points-wise. By the end of the season, this is where we want to be. Everyone wants to be top 3, right? But when you're coming 9th the last 2 years, you set a realistic expectation and try to push through it. And for me, yeah, it's definitely plus-minus numbers and then points of producing and seeing where you fit. But this year, I think getting into that playoff mix is such a big thing for us. The last 2 seasons, they'd missed it by a point or 2, and that's such a tough thing. That's what was the craziest part of the game that changed coming to the UK was its regular season points as the championship. So in the States where if you're locked into your playoff spot with 10 games left, you can kind of ride it out and then just get geared up for playoffs where that's not the case here. So I think the biggest thing, and that we've talked about a little bit in the group chat too, is starting the year strong and pushing right away. Cause 2 or 3 losses in the first 10 games can come to bite you in the ass by the end of the year. So I think for us, it's just playing consistent and putting up a product every night.
Yeah, I really like that because some of the other sort of players we've talked to have either sort of skated around that sort of question or not willing to give anything away. But the fact that you guys have already said this is where we want to be and have something to focus on is really good. I really like that.
Quite refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah, like you say, it's good to have that goal in mind and like you say, you can always keep your season reviewed as you're going along, instead of just going, oh, this, that, and the other. And as you say about the 2 or 3 losses on the road, I mean, Hull last season, we had a bit of a rotten run over 6 or 7 weeks, and it almost threw us out of the title running, to be honest with you. So it does make a big difference, that.
Yeah, it's tough because because like if you're at a point halfway through the year where like chasing that title is pretty much out, and then you're just chasing playoffs, when you set those expectations early, you're really keeping track, and it may put a game at the end of November that no one would ever think about is actually a huge milestone for you, and that's something that can fire the guys up. Like, we have a really good captain in Liam Stanton, and just meeting with him and talking with some of the other guys and saying, hey, like, this is a year that we've made some moves, like we've signed some good guys, like this is something we got to do something with this season, so we can't just come in and fuck around for the first month and figure it out from there. Like, we got to go right away.
Yeah. Cool. So obviously you've touched on this earlier on, but you said there's nothing better than playing in a rink full of fans who hate you. Yeah. So where does that love for the chaos come? Do you find it's just fuel to the fire and it makes you play up to it? Or have you experienced that so much now you just sort of, you can put aside the emotions if someone's chirping, you can do it 10 times better, but do your talking on the ice?
Yeah, no, it's just another way to get going, right? Like, at home, you have your fans cheering for you, and then on the road, sometimes it feels like there's no, other than winning the game, there's no real, like, motivation to get you going. And I think it really clicked with me, like, my second year pro. I was up in Brampton. They still had the Brampton Beast in the ECHL back then, and I got a penalty early on. I hadn't had good points during the year, and I was just getting peppered in the box about how, like, it was a worthless signing. I'm not scoring points, and I had gotten this many penalties. I was just getting hammered, and it pissed me off. And I ended up having like a great game there. And I started to be like, hey, if I can like beak a few fans and like get yelled at and like play as sort of a fuck you to them, like it's just a good motivator. So I think going into rinks that like some guys hate it that they're peppering you the whole time, but you try to like flip it around and use it as a positive. I love that, because like hockey fans in general, it's like American football here. They're pretty passionate and can be like a bit aggressive. And if you use that as like, oh, tonight's going to suck, we're going to Hull, that's just working against you. Whereas I'm like, let's go. Like, let's get, like, anytime I'd score a goal in Dundee or Fife, just give it to the fans, because then they're on you even more. Like, yeah, I just love it. It's like a part of the game, right? It's like you hate, like, you love to hate it. Like, it's even like a hockey fight, right? Like, there's been guys that I've fought a minute-long bout where you beat the hell out of each other, and then you get a beer after the game. Like, it's not like these people don't hate you personally. They don't want you to win. You're playing their team. So it's not like I'm trying to like create wars with fans or anything, but it's just fun.
That's what we love about hockey, though, and it's like live and die by the shirt and for your team. So,
yeah, exactly. And you can put it away. Like, the nice part about the physical side of hockey is when the third buzzer goes off, like, you can put it away. You know what I mean? You don't always carry it through the whole season. Yeah, maybe there's 1 or 2 guys that you hate to your core the whole season, but like for the most part, you get ready for the game, you play the game, and then you get on the bus. Like, we can tuck it away pretty well, which is something I love about our sport.
Yeah, I love that too.
That's mega, isn't it? So, and you mentioned MK as being one of those places that you're looking forward to. Is there anywhere else that you're especially looking forward to winding up other than Hull? I know you've mentioned those a few times.
I don't know if I know enough about it, to be honest. I know that's kind of a crappy answer, but like, yeah, I think the league in general, like, you can watch video online, but as far as the experience in the rink, you don't know till you get there, right? So like, I hear stuff from people, but it's just like anything else. Like, someone says they love this TV show, and then you watch it and you hate it. Like, everyone thinks differently about rinks, right? So I can't speak to it. I could make up some bullshit for you guys to sound good. But no, at the most part, I just really don't know about the rinks. So for me, it's just going to be the first couple games and seeing where you love to play and where you might hate to play. But
I'm going to reverse the question then. Is there anywhere, to your knowledge, we're going to get a sneak peek into the WhatsApp group here. Is there anywhere in particular that the Solway boys love to play?
Not Leeds. Just playing against them. They're just always strong. You're always battling. You're always the underdog going in, right? Like, they've been strong for so long. But yeah, right now it's early days. For people that haven't played the sport or didn't play the sport at a high level, what goes on in the WhatsApp group preseason is just mostly just garbage. So it's not. The guys lock it in and talk hockey stuff every now and again, but it's a lot of guys at the lake or just on the golf course or whatever. So it hasn't been too much about the season. But
wait, so they're not sending each other diet plans or training plans in there?
Coach does every now and again, but no, it's mostly what they're out doing after the gym for the rest of the day. So, but it's been fun. Like, it's a good way to get to know the guys too, right? We have a bunch of new bodies in there, so they sent in a thing of us having to do a little intro and embarrass ourselves a bit and get a good laugh from the boys, right? Like, yeah, that's what I was talking about too on my last interview, with just that first few weeks in the locker room and feeling each other out. And like, you can tell the guys that kind of will take a while to come out of their shell and guys that will come in and start dropping jokes right away. Like, that's such a fun part of the year. And that's really what I miss the most about hockey. Like, you talked about coming out of retirement, like, you miss the games and the competition and all that, but you miss the time with the boys. Like, when else in your life do you go to work with all your best buddies and like literally play a game and then hang out in the room for an hour and a half after practice and shoot the shit? Like, the camaraderie of it is awesome. So yeah, the group's been fun. It stinks not being there. I'm back in a little under a month, start being around the boys again. But yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I liked what you just said today. Obviously, you don't know much about what's been going on in the leagues or specifics about teams, but some people would see that as innocence, but also you feel like you got a bit of a blank canvas. You haven't got this preconceived view of any particular team, so you can go into it, clear mind and just play your game without having the weight of expectation on top of it.
We're going to go play these. Yeah, that's a good shout. That.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, because that is a huge part of it. Like, I don't want to sound like I haven't prepped enough, but there really is like an over preparation where like you read into, oh, this rink's going to be just like this, and you get your mindset for that, and then you get there and it's not that way, or our team plays a different way in that rink or whatever. Like, there's really only so much you can do as long as you understand the team you're playing against, where you're at in the season, and then maybe if a guy says, hey, in this rink, the boards are a little more square than round, puck's gonna kick out, stuff like that. But as far as vibe in the rink, like, there's only so much you can do because you don't know till you're there. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm not preparing either, but at the same time, I think I have enough knowledge to just go and play.
You don't want to cheat yourself out of that experience as well, because again, you're only here for a certain amount of time, aren't you? And believing the hype is sort of like watering it down for you, isn't it? And I love that.
Yeah, but in the same sense, it's like you're obviously a confident guy and a big believer in your own ability, but you've got to think these other teams and places have got to get used to you. So it's not all just you getting used to them. They've got to deal with you, and once you start wading in there, some people are going to know you real quick.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, we'll see. But that is a huge part of it, right? It's like preparing enough that you know what you're doing, but at the same time, just playing my game. Like, I put out the same product every night. I'm going to play tough. I'm going to put big pucks on the net. And like, if we need a big energy shift, I'll go out there and run around a bit. But other than that, like, I hope the league knows and it goes well. And there's guys that are, a little intimidated by playing us, and then guys that don't give a shit and they're going to play hard and get right in my face too. Like, but like I said, like we've said multiple times now, it's just, until you're there, you don't know. So I'm ready to roll, but it's more just itching to start. Like, I can't believe we're still a couple of months out. It sucks.
I mean, to be honest, at the minute, just talking to you, I really like your energy. I think we're going to be a big fan of yours this season. Throughout the season, we seem to do like predictions for each team and stuff like that for the fixtures that come up, and we do like a player of the week sort of thing. And I've got a feeling that you might be in there quite a bit for us.
Sure, yeah. No, I love this side of it. Like, I've talked about it multiple times with guys. Like, we lose that side of it, right? Like, when this turns into a job, you take so much of the experience away. Like, you get to come on, shoot the shit with you guys about hockey. Like, we go to the rink and hang out with the guys, and like, yeah, you're working on your game, and it is a job, but at the same time, we're playing a sport. This is fucking awesome. Like, so like all this other stuff outside of the rink, the guys go home and like, oh, I don't want to do this or do extra or whatever. But it's like, this is the fun part of it. You get to interact with fans and like chat hockey and stuff. Yeah, I love it. So anytime.
Some real of that. I think that brings us on to a few final words and a few final questions.
Yeah.
So, fans are going to love watching you this year. We've already touched upon that. Or maybe hate it, depending on what side of the fence they're on.
Fair enough.
But what should Solway fans expect from you this season if you had a message for them?
Oh, for them, sorry. It's the first time I messed up on the accent. I've been there for 3 years. That's terrible. Our
accent is trash, by the way, so you've done really well. Don't blame yourself.
I'm right with you. I pride myself in not having to say, what was that? Like, that often. So, no, for Solway, I think it's just a guy that's going to come out and give you the full effort. Like, especially towards the end of my career, you really start to take every game in. When you're 2-3 years into your career, it's so easy to, like, have a game where you end up mailing it in. But when you start to see the end of the story, every game you're there. So, I can't promise promise you I'm going to play great every game. I can't promise you I'm not going to make some bad mistakes and hopefully have some amazing moments as well. But I'm going to come out and work for you every game and play tough and just try to bring the team what it needs, right? Like we've talked about with my style of play, I kind of do things at both ends of the rink. Nothing spectacularly well, but somewhat of a full package. And someone who just wants to compete and win and is going to be pissed when we lose and be pumped when we win. So
I think this last question is going to be, a really nice one. Maybe we'll put it as a little clickbait. So I'm gonna let you roll with this last one, mate.
Yeah. So to obviously conclude, what would make this comeback season a success in your eyes?
Trophy for Solway, a couple good clips to a couple good goals or big hits or fights to show my daughter when she's of age would be awesome. And just a good product with the guys. Maybe not the best clickbait answer, but like having a really good season with the fellas, being a good guy in the room, doing fun stuff, talking hockey like this, being a presence in the league that, brings a product outside of the ice. But yeah, bringing home a trophy and maybe, a couple really good hit clips to have for my phone for the next 30 years.
Everybody loves a highlight reel.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, Jake, thanks so much for coming on. This has been an absolute blast. We can't wait to see you back on the ice, lighting things up and shaking a few guys about. Best of luck for the season ahead, and we'll be watching you closely. If you're in Hull, come and say hello.
Yeah, I will if I can get to you, if I don't get stopped by a bunch of angry fans. But yeah, no, I can't wait. This was awesome, boys. Thanks for having me on. And yeah, anytime during the year you want to chat, just give me a holler.
We appreciate it. I think from all of us, well, just before we depart, a big congrats as well on your recent news. You just touched on it there, aren't you? But congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much. Can't wait. Yeah, she'll be once she can put the earmuffs on and deal with the noise, she'll make an appearance at a couple of games. So and let me know where I can get one of those tarps too. Those are sick hoodies.
Oh, well, funnily enough, we've got an announcement coming next week, so maybe we'll get you back on and involved with that.
Awesome.
Love that.